Hello my Stitchy friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Carla and I am the Stitchy Witch in Scotland, and what a cold day it is in Scotland. We've had some very frosty weather recently, and yes, it's not very pleasant. Welcome back to my channel. It's great to see you and thanks for stopping by. I hope you're able to keep me company today because I'm planning on doing a few stitches on this chart, which is called Van Gogh Cat by Sphinx Design Studio. I purchased this chart from a website called Stitches So Beautiful, and I entered a challenge for December. So the challenge is really very simple. It's nothing too strenuous. All I needed to do is to upload a picture of my progress every week until the end of December, which sounds really very doable, especially in such a busy month. And apart from that, there's no counting stitches or anything like that. So far, I have managed to get to about 2% in just over a week, which is quite amazing, really. But as you can see, there's a lot of one colour block areas or two colour block areas. So mostly what I have here is a lot of 939 DMC and the occasional 310 with a little area. As you can see, there's a little orange and yellow and green little splodge. I don't know what it is. My husband was looking at that yesterday and saying, is it people inside a boat? Is it some kind of exotic bird? He was just staring at it for ages trying to figure out what on earth it was. And I said, do you know what? I said, it's nothing. It is just a splodge of colour. And he's just wasting his brain energy trying to figure out what it is. Then I showed him the actual picture of the chart and he's like, oh, okay, yeah, so it's nothing. Yeah, it's nothing. It's just colour. It's just, artwork. But it really was quite funny trying to seeing him try to figure it out. But anyway, apart from that, there's all these blotches of colours in here. So it's supposed to represent, I'm presuming, because it's called Van Gogh or Van Gogh, I don't know how you pronounce that, Starry Night. It's just a spin-off, isn't it, of the original artwork by Van Gogh, and he's got the Starry Night swirling sky with blues and oranges and all sorts of colours. So yeah, it's very interesting. And so I'm working this DMC 939, which was 99,000 stitches of 939, which is now about 97,000 stitches because I've already done 3,000. And it's not too difficult. I mean, it's nice to get block stitching in when you want to catch up on watching things on television that don't require you to be changing threads all the time and having to look away from the TV screen. So that is one good thing about it, especially now this time of year when you want to be watching things on TV that are Christmassy, etc., that are coming out. And so it's a kind of a good chart to be doing for this month, I think, anyway. But that doesn't mean it doesn't get a little bit boring after a little while. So that's kind of why I came on today and thought, hey, why not just, come and keep me company for a little bit. That'll be nice. It's been a little while now since I actually did a Stitch with Me. I can't even remember what chart I did on the last Stitch with Me. It might have been the Astrology Cat, which is the Haid Sal, which I did get my 4 pages finished, by the way. And that is now put away for a brighter day in the future when I will probably finish the chart. But for now, I'm quite relaxed and easygoing with this one. It's not taking up too much brain energy, which is good because I've been quite busy with other things. So it's been nice to just sit down and be able to get a whole thread done really quickly and then, have another break and then go off and do more stuff, more life stuff, and then come back and do a little bit more stitching. So you're probably wondering here, what on earth is she doing with these little stitches that are sticking out on the side? Well, just to expand on this, I am doing tent stitches. You can probably see my tent stitches here, and this needle's a little bit scratchy, by the way, which isn't the best. And so with the tent stitches, it's absolutely fine. It's 2 strands over 1 on the 25 count Evenweave. It's my go-to method. It's the one that I do most of the time, and unless I get really fed up and decide to change. And usually when that happens, it doesn't really work out and I end up going back to the 10th stitch, but okay. So I'm doing a little bit of feathering down the side just for, I don't know, just to prevent a hard edged line, and also, you know, just a stylistic kind of feathering, if you will. I don't know if it really is going to make any difference or not, but hey, it does. I don't think it's doing any harm. You might get a stylistic sort of wavy kind of pattern in the end if you look close enough, but I don't think anyone, once something goes on the wall, it never really gets looked at that closely, so you really can't tell if there's any tiny little faux pas. It's just, that's the way, you know, you can do a little bit of feathering. In fact, I prefer to do a little bit of feathering when I'm doing blocks like this, because sometimes I have seen evidence that there has been hard line, but then I'm told that that's got a lot to do with tension, and my tension's pretty even usually, so I've never actually had a problem with lines of any kind, especially in doing the 10th stitch. So yeah, it's never really been a problem for me. So I'm working sort of in columns here, and that's kind of fine. And when I get a little bit tired of working in the column, I go up to the top right and that sort of thing. I did think about starting in the middle of this chart. Now, there's something really attractive about starting in the middle, because you get straight into the action, straight into the details. However, when I did start something in the middle, I found it really awkward to know what direction I was going to go in after that, because there was like obviously up, down, left, right. So when I started aiming to go right, it suddenly started to look unbalanced, and I thought, well, maybe I should have gone left, or maybe shall I go up now? I can't really stitch upwards very well either, so that doesn't really help. And then I think, well, I can't really neglect the going down bit either, so where am I going? And I don't really get an answer in my head, so it just doesn't work out for me. So I end up going right to the top and starting at the top again. So that's just the way it works for me. I've seen some people starting in the middle of the chart and they do a fantastic job, and they just keep it all consistent, and they get a lovely little bit of detail all around in either like a semicircle or something of stitching, or a little rectangle, and it just looks like they know what they're doing. Whereas when I start in the middle, I have no idea, so I'm just faffing it, or I'm just, you know, bluffing it, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I think it's safer for me to stop trying to be so artistic and just stick to my corner. Sometimes it's okay to veer away and, you know, try other things. I always end up just going back to what I know best, what I'm my comfort zone. Comfort zones can get a little bit boring after a while, for definite, but they're safe. They're safe little areas where you know what you're doing. There's not much chance of going wrong, and you're not going to come back and say, oh my God, how do I fix this? So yeah, that's why I normally go back. That's why I've started this one in the top left, because I just want to do the blocks of colour in, you know, this month, and get some stitching satisfaction without having to change too many colours. Although now I'm going to run into areas that are going to have those splotches, those unidentifiable splodges of colour. And yeah, I'm glad for it actually, because after a while I'm definitely getting tired of 939. So it is going to be nice when I hit these colours and get a little bit more, because it is going to look boring if there's no colour. So let's see, when do I have to update this Stitch is So Beautiful page on Facebook? By the way, I just have to say, I was talking about this challenge in my last video, and it's no longer, the entry for it is no longer open. This is something that they had a deadline last week, and the deadline is done, it's finished, so nobody else can enter, unfortunately. But it looks like they have loads of challenges on. I don't know what challenges they've got. I'm very new to their page and their website, so if you want to have a gander around Stitch is So Beautiful, they seem to have a lot of, like, they talk a lot about different challenges anyway. I don't know what the other ones are, but if you fancy trying something of theirs, then just take a look. I will put a link down below for the website of Stitch is So Beautiful, which will probably link out to Facebook and etc. So yeah, so I think the next one I have to update is on the 15th of December, which is approximately in 3 days time, 3 or 4 days time, which is fine because I've actually got visible progress since the last upload that I did of my progress. At least another 800 stitches or more, 1,000 stitches, maybe more that I've done. I can't believe I've got so much done actually, but it's probably just because I'm doing the one colour mostly. That really must be it. And then again, I'll need to upload a progress picture. I think it's on the 22nd, if I'm not mistaken. Could be mistaken, but somewhere around there. And then there's the last progress picture of this chart, which needs to go up at the 31st of December. So that's going to be cool. I don't know whether Stitch is So Beautiful are... I'm sure they must be monitoring these updates, because you get a free pattern of their choice at the end of the challenge at the end of December. So that's really nice. I mean, do I really need more patterns? Absolutely not. But it's always nice to get a free one, right? Never say no to a free pattern. Even if you think you're never going to stitch it, they really don't take up much space on your computer. So that's interesting. It's actually quite nice. It's like a little bee or something in like a stained glass effect kind of pattern picture. So it's quite nice. I think it's one that I could possibly be tempted to do in the future. So this is what I'm doing, folks. I haven't really done anything else in December, and I have to say, since my last video, I feel so much better. I feel better than I did before I got sick, which is really strange. I got a really bad cold last week, and there's still a little tiny bit of a sniffle, but hardly anything at all. And I feel so much brighter and more energetic. It must be down to all that, you know, TLC that I was doing last week, all the hot drinks, lemon and honey, and, you know, cozying up on the couch with my heating pad and my books. And I just surround myself with my books and my stitching and all the things that I love that bring me comfort, and my cat, of course, which you saw at the beginning of this video, my lovely little Misty. She is so adorably cuddly. She loves to sit on my lap, which I love the idea of her sitting on my lap, but it's not really useful when I'm trying to do stuff. And then she tries to sit beside me, which is great, and she stretches out, and you know, we're just like cozying up on the couch together. It's really lovely this time of year to have her companionship as well. Because my son is 16-year-old, nearly 6-foot guy, and he's not the most cuddly, I have to say. He does put his arm around me sometimes and give me a little tiny hug. I wouldn't call it a big hug. So he does show a little bit of affection, but yeah, it's not the same as not the same as what you'd get from a cat or a dog, I think. In fact, it would feel kind of wrong if my son cozied up on the couch with me and stretched out and that sort of thing. I don't think that would be very nice with his big long legs. Bless him. But yeah, it's nice to have something fluffy and sweet sitting there beside you when you're doing your stitching. And yeah, that's it. So that's me set for December. I'm really enjoying just chilling out and enjoying the change of the season. I didn't think I would enjoy the change of season. I think it's because I've just let go of any expectations about what I should be doing over the winter, and kind of just trying to appreciate every day as it goes by, and trying to look for something that I can appreciate or that I can be grateful for. I think it really does help. I used to think, no, you know, silly thoughts like that, they're not going to make any difference to your life, but they actually do. And I kind of read a lot of books at this time of year, which are based around this time of year, and so you can get an even deeper sense of the season that you're in, so you can appreciate it all the more. And a couple of books that I've read recently, that's something that I can chat to you about. I just recently finished a book called Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult. Now, I do love Jodi Picoult as an author. I think she's an absolute fantastic writer. She's got so many topics that are really heartwarming, heart-wrenching topics. They'll just pull your heartstrings and make you cry. They'll give you all the feels. She talks about very controversial subjects, but she comes to them from a very sensitive angle. So you get perspectives from everybody. So she's not just trying to pose her opinion on a particular topic, but she puts that particular topic in the relevant situation where it would come up, and then you get all the perspectives of the characters that have to deal with that particular sensitive topic. She does that very well. She writes like that, and I normally love a lot of her books. I've read quite a lot of them. It does often have a lot of legal jargon in it, because there's often court cases and things like that because of the nature of the topics. But this one upset me, and I think it's because Mad Honey was about a boy who had been accused of murder. I think he was might have been 17 or 18. He was accused of murdering his girlfriend. And his mother, a lot of the perspective of the story is from the mother's viewpoint. And as a mother myself, I can identify with a lot of things that she would be going through, with her son going through a trial. And I found that quite painful, because even though obviously it's not my situation at all, I can relate to how a mother would feel if her son had been accused of a crime which she knows deep in her heart that he couldn't commit, because who knows their child better than the parents, right? And it was just, it was upsetting. So I found myself putting it aside a lot because of that, because it just kind of it would make me upset when I read it. And every time I picked it up and read her perspective about her son going through the courts every day and having to listen to awful testimonies, and the prosecution accusing him of all sorts of things, and the mother just couldn't do anything. She just had to sit there and listen to everything and be quiet and not get involved. That to me is like just awful, and it just upset me. So I thought, right, I can't do this. I can't be upset. I don't want to read this. I did end up finishing the book. I tried to finish it in one sitting so that I could just get it over and done with. And it was really good. There is nothing wrong with the story at all. It just affected me because of the fact that I'm a mother and I've also got a son typically around the same age. So I think when you can directly relate to a topic or a genre or something, it can really pull at you. So that is one of the books that I have read recently. I am also reading Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel. Now, I started reading this ages ago, and I don't know why, but I stopped it for some reason. I picked it up again because I've been following the Wolf Hall series on the BBC. Every week I've been watching Wolf Hall. I don't know if you get that in the US or whether you can stream it somewhere. But I am so obsessed with Thomas Cromwell and Wolf Hall and the Tudors and King Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn. Like every so often I go through this phase of being obsessed with a particular person in the 16th century, or all of them even. And so I've gone back and I've been diligently watching every episode and even putting the subtitles so I don't miss anything that they're saying, because sometimes they speak a little bit fast or a little mumble and you don't know what they've said, especially in that particular time period when they talk about Lord this and Lord that. And I've really enjoyed Wolf Hall. So I'm kind of reading the book, which is a huge book, by the way. And the book is not an easy read, actually. It's a very different type of writing style, and it can be a little bit difficult to follow. But I have persevered, because you can often get a lot more from a book than you can from watching a series. The visuals are fantastic, seeing the costumes, the facial expressions, the sort of things that you cannot get from a book. Those things you can only imagine from what you're reading. But the book gives you a lot more dialogue and a lot more description, obviously, of the surroundings, etc. So I'm reading that, and I will be reading the second one in the series as well, also by Hilary Mantel. So that's where I am at the moment. I'm really stuck into Wolf Hall. What else have I read? Okay, well, I'm also currently reading a book called A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And this is a book that has quite a few critical reviews, I think. It's very popular though, and is set in a world of fairy, or fae as they're called. I won't give away too much on this though, as I'm only just a couple of chapters in. And well, I don't know what I think about the book yet. I don't generally read fantasy works. And at the moment, it does sort of come across as like a young adult type of novel. But then again, after reading a few reviews, it looks like there is definite adult related content. So yeah, but I haven't reached those bits yet, and haven't really formulated a steady opinion on, or a definite opinion on, what I think about the story. So we'll see. I wanted to pick it up a bit more than I wanted to want to pick it up a bit more than I have. So maybe that's a telling sign. When you're not grabbing a book frequently enough, is that just telling you that it's not grabbing you and maybe you should move on to something else? I don't know. I feel like I need to try and give things a bit of a chance, at least get at least the first 4 or 5 chapters in, and sometimes I'll even go beyond that, because I think, things can really pick up towards the middle of a book. Oftentimes that happens, and I get to the end of the book and I think, why did I bother? I should have just stopped when I stopped. Because there's so many books to read, right? You don't have to pledge allegiance to any particular author or any particular book. You can just read whatever you like, whatever suits you. But I do feel like, since if it's something I've purchased, I should give it a fair trial. The other thing is, I don't review anything negatively. I feel like if I find something that's negative, I don't want to put more negative stuff out there. I will just quietly walk away and not say anything. If I love the book, I will tell the author that I love the book, and I will put a good review or a pleasant review. I'm just not the kind of person that likes to spread negativity. I just will avoid it at any cost. I used to do a lot of writing groups. I used to lead a lot of writing groups where offering critical assessments is something you need to do, and people will give you some samples of their writing and ask you for your opinion. And it would be terrible for you to turn around and say, yeah, it's fantastic, because people are not going to learn from their mistakes if you just tell them it's all fantastic. You have to tell them what they need to do to improve. But that's just critical advice and help. It's not a negative or mean or demeaning or nasty review. And yet some people will take it badly, because writing is a very personal, creative thing. It's the same with anything that we do, right? If we make something, or we create something, or we put something out in the world, somebody says something nasty about it, it automatically hits you, right? It just sends a real arrow to your heart, because you know that you've put such an effort, and your feelings, actually emotions, go into this product. So it can be trying to accept negativity, but it's just par for the course. Whenever you put yourself out there, you're going to have to accept everything that comes your way. So that's it. That's all I've done, really. I've read a few books. I've done my stitching. I've been out and done a bit of shopping. What do I buy when I go shopping? Well, I don't like to buy too many. See, I'm getting, as I get older, I think I'm becoming a bit more minimalistic. I'm starting to not really care much about buying too many things. I feel like, I don't know, probably because I've moved houses so many times and I've had to pack things so many times and had so many boxes to pack, that I've kind of now realised that if I ever have to move my station again in life, it's going to be so much easier if I don't have a lot of junk. So I am definitely not hoarding. I do have a lot of craft stuff, I will give it that, but in terms of ornaments and all that sort of thing and decorating, I don't do much of that. I don't buy a lot of that stuff, because first of all, I have to think about where I'm going to store it for an entire year when it comes to Christmas decorations. And then I think, well, it's only going to be out for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and then it's going to go, I'm going to have to find somewhere to put it so no one can see it, because nobody wants to see a big Santa Claus in the hallway in the middle of June, do they really? I mean, maybe some people do that. I don't know if that's a thing. So I'm always wary of where I'm going to put stuff first, and having to tidy things up as well. So within reason. So I didn't do a lot of Christmas shopping. I think we just got a few little balls for our tree, baubles, and then I got a few things for the mantle. That's about it. I'm happy with that. Some Christmas lights. Christmas lights are always essential. You can never have too many twinkly lights, right? They really do add a nice vibe to the room. And some Christmas music, a hot chocolate drink, and some biscuits or some nice little snacks to go with your hot chocolate. Yeah, that sounds like a perfect Christmas Eve. Maybe a little shot of brandy, which I don't drink, but somebody else can drink it. Or a shot of whiskey, which again I don't drink. Somebody else can drink that too. And yeah, it's just, that's what I like about this time of year, is having the home comforts and curling up into a ball and just, yeah, hibernating basically. That's what we do. Just hibernate. And of course, I stopped making Needleminders for a while because I was sick and I just didn't have the energy to make Needleminders, which is a bit of a shame. But I think I needed a break because since I started my shop in, I think it was late September, it has been literally non-stop making Needleminders because they've been selling so well, which I'm hugely grateful for. But they've been selling so well that I've had to be replenishing the shop constantly because if you sell 20, you think now it's going to look a bit empty, I have to go and make another 20. And yeah, so I've been constantly running around making Needleminders to the point where I just forget everything else. And so yeah, it did dig into my stitching time a little bit, and also everything else that I do. But it's just been such fun. The whole thing has been such a fun adventure, especially coming up with ideas for new designs and things like that. It's such a whole lot of fun. And it's always fantastic when people come back and say, I really love the design, I really love it. It just makes you feel so pleased that you've made someone happy with something that you've created as well. So yeah, that's been really nice. But I don't think I'm going to be making any more for the next in the next week. I'll be putting up a few that I already have made, but I don't think I'll be creating more ones over the Christmas week. I do have a sale, by the way, which ends on the 16th. So if you're looking to grab a Needleminder or you want to check out this little chap here, is the last one that I made. There's a couple still available of him. And I think that's it after the 16th. The 16th is when the sale will end. So it's going to be on for like 10 days or something. And then I expect it to be pretty slow because after Christmas, it's going to be fairly quiet. I don't think people do a lot of shopping on the Christmas week. So it's sort of, everything goes a little bit quiet, which is nice because you don't want to be running around doing stuff, on Christmas. So my Christmas is going to look very quiet, and I'm really happy to spend that time with my family. I have been yakking away for half an hour. I hope that you're still with me. If you are, thank you so much for stopping by, spending the time with me. I feel so much better. Thank you all for your concerns in my last video. I'm fine. It was just one of those rotters, those colds that people just keep passing to me that I don't want. But I'm doing grand. So thank you very much. And I also hope that you have a lovely rest of the day. And if I don't see you again before Christmas or the New Year, I just want to wish you all the best. Have a wonderful time with your families. But I do hope that I see you again very soon, my friends. Thanks for watching. Bye.